welcome to the channel. You're watching the Mixtape Fiber Arts vlog. Welcome if you're new to the channel. If you're back, thank you for joining me again. We've got a lot to cover today, so get a drink, buckle in, maybe a snack. So let's see. I've got my notes as I always do to make sure we don't skip anything. But I hope everybody had a happy new year and holiday season. And I know that we had a good one. I have since cleaned up from all of it. And the house is back to normal, which is kind of nice because frankly, holiday season takes up a lot of space. And we don't have a lot of space, even though it's beautiful, we just don't have it. So I was kind of glad to put it all away just to get the space back. But our family had a really nice holiday season. I hope you guys did too. And I hope your New Year plans and goals, if you're a goal setter, all go well for you. So today on the vlog, we are covering, like I said, a lot. So we've got the what I'm wearing, of course. I'm going to recap Vlogmas and how I felt about all of that. And what my knitting plans are for 2025. That's always fun to look at. Things I've acquired. The tutorials coming out for the Norwegian Purl. So we'll go over that a little bit. Promotional support and life, of course. But we will start with what am I wearing? So today I have on my Find Your Fade cardigan. I believe this was by Andrea Mowry. If that's wrong, I will put it here and correct myself. I've knit so many things over so many years at this point that I can't keep track of them anymore. And frankly, I have no idea what all yarn I used for this. So I apologized for that. But it's a little big. I knit the sleeves too long, so I've got them folded at the cuff. That's okay, it works. I throw this on quite frequently around the house if the air conditioning gets too much. And so, or if it's just chilly like it is this morning, it's a little chilly in the house, not bad. So anyway, that is what I'm wearing. It was a fun pattern to knit. I do remember that. I had never made a collar like this before, and I did feel like this collar would never end. But it did, and it was worth it, and it looks fantastic. So it was a really well-written pattern. I recommend it if you haven't knitted and wanted to give it a try. Okay, so let's talk about knitting plans for 2025. I'm sure you've got them. If the knitting, crochet, making in general, it's always fun to go look through Ravelry, look through patterns, think about what you're going to do for the year, and then probably not follow it at all, but it's still fun to do. If you're like me, you tend to sidetrack real fast. I wouldn't call them goals. I would call them plans. That way, if I don't get to them, I don't feel like I missed achieving them. So let's see. I definitely need more, and this is going to sound funny maybe, but I need a couple cardigans that are more Arizona friendly. And by that, I mean they're not like this. So like, this is, I believe, DK weight yarn. It is extremely warm. It is 100% wool. And while, yes, I do wear it around the house and that kind of stuff, it's not something I can just wear out when it's a little chilly, because the weather here tends to be maybe a little chilly for about an hour sometimes, unless you're going to go into very aggressive air conditioning like a movie theater, and then it is just hot. It's just warm. But that doesn't mean you don't need something to cover up your shoulders. You know, we frequently wear short sleeves and tank tops and that kind of stuff. So I need some cardigans that are more lightweight, that maybe aren't made out of 100% wool, that will easily stay on my shoulders. I have this issue where my shoulders are very narrow. And I know that. And it's not that I can't do the math to necessarily edit patterns to make them fit me and work around that, but I also don't like to have to deal with it, frankly. I have a big chest everybody can see, but I have very narrow shoulders. And that creates some issues when making things like cardigans, especially if they don't button or have a clasp or something, because they just want to fall off my shoulders. They simply don't fit my shoulders. So I am specifically looking at Ravelry. I picked out some cardigans that were crew neck, that have buttons, that look like they could be modified fairly easily if I needed to. That maybe have a little bit of lace on them, since that would give a little bit more breathability. So I would like to get maybe 2 of those out this year. And then maybe pack down some of these more wintry cardigans to make space for the new lighter ones. So I definitely have that plan. And that's probably all my biggest plans. So when I was doing this process of looking for what I was going to knit, oh, that's not true, actually. I was also looking at some knit tanks and short sleeve t-shirts. I may knit a few of those too. Those will go pretty fast, but I can wear them under my cardigans. They're appropriate for work and going out and all of that kind of stuff. So I don't have very many work appropriate or business casual knit items at this point that aren't made for a climate like Missouri or the Midwest, farther north where it gets very cold. And I just can't wear those here with any kind of regularity. So I need to update my wardrobe a little bit. But anyway, when I was in the process of doing this, Ravelry really kind of got under my skin a little bit. Now their system is great. You can filter by 1,000 things, but maybe I'm just missing it somewhere, and if I am, please put it in the comments. I can't figure out how to filter out designs that have been discontinued. So I went through hundreds of pages, and I'm not exaggerating here, with my filters in place. I still had like 400 pages of cardigans, tanks, and tees to go through. If I wanted to look at all of them, and frankly, I didn't get through all of them, but I would find a few that I really liked and I would get excited about them, and then I would notice the pattern has been discontinued. And that probably happened 3 or 4 times, which is extremely frustrating when you're going through that many patterns. I just don't understand when somebody discontinues a pattern, why it's not completely removed or hidden from their website. So you can't even search for it. That's the only frustration I have. Overall, I love scrolling through Ravelry, looking at all the patterns, planning in my head what I think I want to knit. That's all great fun. It's just frustrating when you hit one you really love and then you can't use it because it's been discontinued. And I just really, somebody might have it all over the internet. I don't have time to go looking for it. So anyway, those are my knitting plans. I'd love to know what your knitting or crochet plans are for 2025. Let me know in the comments. Okay, so those were my knitting 2025 plans. Like I said, let me know what you guys are gonna do down in the comments if you have any, or cross stitching or weaving or whatever maker plans you have. I'd be excited to see, because the last thing I need is a new hobby, but anyway. So let's go on to what I've been working on. So as many of you know, if you watched Vlogmas, I have been working on the Hybrid Knit Along shawl, which is called the Glowhair Frost Shawl by Stephen West. And here it is. I kind of need bigger needles to show this off, so I'm going to do my best. I really don't want it popping off. Here's where I am so far. It is so pretty. I'm really loving it. I like my color choices. It is relaxing so far. It's not super tedious. It's just tedious enough you have to pay a little attention, but it's also very repetitive and memorizable. Each section has been. So that's where I'm at. Do you love it? I love it. His way of making baubles is really not complicated. You don't have to knit 1,000 of these together at once. So if you've never knit a Stephen West bauble, You can find tutorials online where he's made tutorials online for it. You should go look up how he does that. Here's the back. Let me see. There's the back. And it looks awesome also. You could, if it got turned inside out, nobody would probably know unless you're the person who has worked on it. So I will definitely be dedicating most of my knitting time to getting this finished because I am excited to wear it before it gets way too hot for me to wear it anywhere but in my house. And that time is quickly approaching. I know a lot of you are looking forward to a blizzard and extremely cold weather the next couple weeks and into January, but this is pretty much the end of the line, the January, for us being cold here. At least generally it is. And cold here is like, maybe we hit 57. We haven't even done that this year. I think this coming week, the coldest we get is maybe 67 because it's been in the mid 70s. So at any rate, it quickly gets into the 80s here in March even. So I really want to get this done so I can wear it some. The other thing I have been working on is a sock. Now, I haven't made socks in probably 2 years, like since we moved to Arizona. And that's because I tend not to wear them very often. That's one of the reasons, at least. The other reason is I don't know what happened to any of my sock needles. I found one that works for this project, but I really need to order a smaller one. I think this is... boy, I don't even know, but I have size 5 women's feet. So my feet are very small, and I really like a tighter sock. So I like to use a smaller needle, and these are the smallest ones I could find. And I did try this sock on yesterday, and it fits. I'll be able to wear them, but here it is. But it's a little looser than what I really like. I think as the day goes on, it'll probably get slightly annoying and slide around in my shoe. But I don't know if you can see that, but it's slip stitches. They're just making little ridges down the sock. It's really simple to knit. It's easy to travel with. I did a stretchy cast on so I can get my foot in there. I also did, on my cast on, I used a bigger needle than I'm even using here because I have a kind of a high arch and it's hard to get over all of that with the sock and still have it tight in the ankle. So stretchy cast on, bigger needle for just the cuff. Then I went down to the needle I'm using now for the rest of the sock. This is a heel flap and turn heel with slip stitches again, which tends to fit my foot extremely well when the needle size is correct. It's a little loose this time, and I know it's because of the needle size. It's definitely not the pattern. There's no lace in it or anything like that. So, also, this is only the second time I have successfully made a heel flap and turn. I did this for one pattern several years ago, and then I tried doing it again on a few socks, and I would just get frustrated and go back to the afterthought heel. The other thing about the afterthought heel is if you're really traveling with your project a lot and you're in a position where you really can't count or deal with dividing for the heel turn and that kind of thing, it's a little simpler. And that could just be that I'm less practiced in this heel flap, but I'm trying to remedy that. So that is, I didn't mention this in my 2025 goals, but I do want to keep socks as my travel projects through 2025 so I can really get down this heel flap and turn, since that seems to be what fits my foot best. And really practicing it is the only way for me to overcome the laziness I have in just going back to the other heel, because I have it memorized and I do not have this memorized, and I really just need to memorize it. I tend to just cast on socks. I tend to not use a pattern because I know my foot size and all of that. I've knit enough of them now. And so anyway, socks. This is yarn that actually came from someplace in London. My son brought it back to me when he went on vacation there this past year, and I love it. It's really perfect for socks, and I believe it's a blend of nylon and BFL, so it will hold up really well for socks. So that is what I've been working on there. And then lastly, oh, don't fall over. Lastly, I made a washcloth. I know, so exciting, right? So here's it. It's just a simple cotton washcloth. And the reason I have made this washcloth and I wrote a pattern for it is because the knitting tutorial for the Norwegian Purl is coming out today, the same day you're watching this vlog. So I wanted to provide a pattern to go along with it where you can easily practice it, and especially if you're a new knitter, because I had made around a month ago, I released the just how to knit using Continental method. And so if you're a new knitter, I had made a pattern just to practice the knit stitch, and of course it's in garter and it's a little rectangle. And so if you've done that tutorial and you're a new knitter, I haven't woven the ends for this, you can complete that and then do the tutorials for the Norwegian Purl and then do this pattern, and you will have practiced quite a bit, or at least enough, doing both of those methods that you will be able to hopefully knit and purl by the end of it and have some useful items for around your house. So if you are wanting to learn Norwegian Purl, you should be able to go look at my playlist now, and under the tutorials section there should be the Norwegian Purl. There'll be 2 videos. One of them will be teaching you how to Norwegian Purl using, of course, the Continental method for holding your yarn, which will be in your left hand. And then the other video will be walking through the pattern with me to make this washcloth. So I also recognize that a lot of people fail to learn how to read knitting patterns, and that they can be very intimidating. So I wanted to incorporate that into the actual tutorials for learning to knit and learning to purl, so that right off the bat you have a reason to learn to use a pattern. I'm not saying that people who don't use patterns are somehow lesser knitters by any stretch of the word. I'm not. But a lot of people, you might see something you really love, and not being able to read that pattern is holding you back from being able to make it. And so I just want to provide a little bit of a pathway to pattern reading right from the start. So if you go to my website, which is www.mixtapefiberarts.com, there'll be a section called handouts. And in that section, you will be able to find the pattern for both, oh, hello kitty, for both the little just knit garter stitch rectangles, and then this dishcloth that's in stockinette with a border that uses both knit and purl. And then you can go to YouTube and follow along a little bit with the videos, and you should have a basic foundation for reading patterns along with your new skill of knitting. So if you go and use those, I'd really appreciate a comment on them about how they can be improved, or if you enjoyed them and what I did right. These are the first tutorials I've ever made. I do plan to make more of them, and the only way they will get better is if you guys let me know what you thought of them. So I would appreciate any feedback you have, and I will not take it too personally because I am learning as I do this also. Okay, acquisitions. Unfortunately, there is acquisition I am missing that I will have to show on the next vlog. And that is, my son had recently traveled to Sweden for vacation, and he brought back the toothiest worsted weight wool from Sweden. It would be amazing for color work, which is probably what I'm going to use it for. And it will definitely be super warm. So I need to put some thought into what I'm going to make out of it. And it is currently trapped in the bedroom where my husband is sleeping, and he works nights. So I'm not going to wake him up. So I'll try and remember to grab that for the next vlog. However, I do have something to show you for this one. So if you, again, were following Vlogmas, you might have seen this already. But this is the DK Nightfall kit, and it is a gorgeous, this was from Hue Loco, came with this little card. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10 minis in DK, and they are so pretty. I don't know if you guys can get all the colors from there. I will stick in a picture of all of these, I think, so you can, sorry about the crinkling, so you can get a better idea. But they are all gloomy and moody and gothy, which is kind of right down my alley. And when I got these, I had looked at the yardage. Unfortunately, this is totally my fault. I had looked at the yardage that came with the fingering weight minis and not the yardage that came with the DK weight minis. So I have since had to order some yarn to go along with these because this wasn't quite enough to really make anything with, unless I was size extra small in a tank top, which I'm not. And of course it would be enough to make something like a cowl, but in my climate here in Arizona, cowls are not really something that I wear because you can't just easily take them off without messing up your hair and going through a big rigmarole. Oh, I'm going to set these down over here. So at any rate, cowls are not really for me. So I will probably make these into some kind of tank. But I didn't have enough yarn. So I have since ordered more yarn to go with it, which is this, and I haven't opened it yet. So let's do that. And again, this is all from Hue Loco. They do a great job with their colors and their combinations. So here is what, and it's DK also, which I rarely use DK, but I really wanted this set, and they were out of fingering by the time I got to it. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to figure out something to do with it in DK. So here is, this is colored called Charcoal. And I got this to go along with the minis. Again, sorry for the crinkling. Let me see if I can find where this opens. Here we go. Yes, okay. So gorgeous. This will go perfect with the minis. I will stick a picture of it in with the minis all just laying around each other. This particular yarn is 100% superwash merino, and I believe that, oh, the makeup of the minis is actually 75-25 merino nylon, so that'll be fine for a tank here. But I definitely am looking forward to using this. So after the shawl is done by Stephen West, I will probably come up with a pattern to use to knit these up. So maybe on the next vlog I'll have picked that out, and I will share it with you. But I was really excited about this Nightfall kit. It is gorgeous, and I'm very happy with the yarn when it showed up. So that is something I am looking forward to knitting up. Okay, so where are we at? Well, I got to check my notes. We have done what I'm wearing. We've done what I'm working on. We did the hibernation shawl. Oh, Vlogmas. Let's talk about Vlogmas for a minute. So this was the first Vlogmas I have done this past month. And, you know, I did this stuff in October. It was a little more hit or miss, like every 2 or 3 days I kind of put something up for October. But for Vlogmas, I really tried to hit every day. And it quickly became apparent to me that that is just too much. I have a lot of respect for those YouTubers and content creators out there who manage to put up something every day. For me to be able to do that, I would literally have to pre-record things, and I feel like that defeats the purpose of doing Vlogmas to begin with. So that's just my personal opinion. If you guys prefabricate some content for it to make it easier and the editing easier, then I totally understand doing it. But from my perspective, it just, it's supposed to be organic in what you actually did that day or maybe the day before. And it's so much work to randomly take your camera with you, to try and remember to record things, to have to piece them all together in editing, and then try and get that video out the exact same day or the next day is just overwhelming. So next year, I think I may do a weekly Vlogmas where you'll get 4 updates instead of me trying to kill myself and do daily updates. It just has to be reined back a little bit, but I still want it to be authentic. And I didn't dislike doing it. I learned a lot doing it. You really get to know your camera and your editing software and how to talk to the camera when you do that much vlogging every day. But so it was worth it, but the stress that it puts you under to just get all that stuff out that quickly and turn it around and have it look halfway decent is just too high. You know, this isn't the most polished of vlogs, and you know, we live in our house, so it's not 1000% clean all of the time. There's clutter. There's, you know, a cat. So, you know, there's cat hair on the furniture and you just can't keep it off. And, you know, we live here just like other people live here. And I don't know how people who have these houses that are pristine all the time do it, but we can't. It's clean, but we have stuff everywhere. And so when we go to film my vlog, I'm constantly having to, like, I need to move this out of the screen. I need to move this out of the way. And you may notice as Vlogmas went on, that kind of went downhill. Like all of a sudden I just started recording whatever I was at and you got what you got, and we live in our house and it's not perfect. And yeah, so I kind of gave up on that. Some of these Vlogmases you turn on and it's just a perfect winter scene and it's so relaxed and they have their coffee and their candles and everything is where it belongs. And it's just, maybe it proves the chaos that happens in my head when you see chaos a little bit in a house. But I really think it's just that we live here, and I'm not going to ask the people that share this home with me to change all of their habits just to record a Vlogmas. So anyway, or a vlog for that matter. So that's kind of where I was at with Vlogmas. So next year, at least the current plan, unless my life has big changes in 2025, which I think it will, but I don't think they'll impact this too much, is to do weekly videos for the next Vlogmas. And I haven't decided if I'm doing the October one again. I'll decide on that one when we get to it. But at any rate, those were my thoughts on Vlogmas. I hope you guys enjoyed them if you watched them. If you didn't and you wanted to check them out, there is a playlist for them right here on the YouTube channel, so you can easily get through all of them. Let's see what else. What do we got? Talked about travel projects, talked about Ravelry. All right, knitwear design. We haven't touched on that for a little bit. I didn't cover designing in the last vlog, so I want to touch on here a little bit. I do have some design plans for 2025. Some of them will probably just be free. I may revamp this this washcloth pattern and make it into a set with a couple other patterns and just throw that up for free on the website. I kind of want to do some placemats and some household items, again, because those work better in Arizona, and also because I see less of those on Ravelry, and I think people would still enjoy making them. I think they would use them if they made them or thought about them. I think most people just think about the things they wear as opposed to household items when it comes to especially knitting. Crochet has a little bit more of that, but especially knitting. So I may make some patterns for that. And then there's kind of this cocoon wrap where little bit like a bolero, where your arms go in sleeves, but then the whole rest of it is a rectangle, essentially shawl. It's just a big rectangle with tubes on each end. You put your arms in, you cross it across the front of your body or your back, and you stick your arms in, and that's kind of how you wear it. They're really cute. I don't know how practical they are. This may be an instance again where my narrow shoulders get in the way, but I thought I would try and design maybe a knit and crochet. Myself in crochet pattern writing, like I said, are not the strongest points, but at least in knitting, I might try and produce a pattern similar to that. I want to make sure I don't copy any other designers, so I want to try and be really organic with my pattern design when I do that. So that is something that I want to work on when I have some time to do it. So watch for that. I'll discuss it maybe across the next few vlogs. It's nothing that's going to come out anytime soon because I haven't even started really brainstorming it. I just somebody had suggested that I come up with a design for that, and I thought, well, that might be a good idea. So I'm entertaining that design right now. You will probably see free patterns on the website and maybe on Ravelry for washcloth sets or potholder sets or something like that, trivets, in the next couple months. Those won't take me that long. So, and I'm not going to bother with, hopefully I'm not copying anybody else, but there's only so much you can do making a knit and purl square, and you're bound to copy someone accidentally. I'm really going to try not to do that. I do research before I make these designs to make sure that I'm not exactly copying somebody else's work. But when it comes to something so simple as a washcloth or a trivet or a cup holder, it's just, or a coaster, I mean, not a cup holder. You know, it's almost impossible. It's almost impossible with the, you know, million of people who make knitting patterns to not copy somebody, but I try. So here in the next couple months, you'll probably see those up for free somewhere if you wanted to grab them. I'll try and make them pretty beginner friendly for everybody so that they can go along with the tutorials. And so that's kind of where I'm at with designing. I think that covers most of the vlog, you guys. We did, let's see, I did my we covered the new year. We covered what I've been working on. We covered my acquisitions. So I think that's it. I will check my notes one more time. We've got my socks for my travel project. We talked about my little beef with Ravelry. I can't imagine it's that hard to add a filter to get rid of those discontinued patterns. Maybe I'm missing it. If I am, I apologize. I'm not perfect. Like I said, they have a ton of things you can filter, so maybe I'm missing it. But I was pretty frustrated when I kept finding things that I liked that I couldn't actually knit. So yeah, let's go on to just a little bit of a promotion here. If you don't want to stick around for that, that's fine. But I wanted to let you know that I am having a Hunker Down promotion starting today, and it'll be live through the end of the day on the 8th of January. So for the next 4 days, I'm doing a Hunker Down promotion, 15% off all of my patterns on Ravelry and the website. And I'm doing that because I know 75% of the country, and at least in the US right now, is about to go through some of the coldest weather they've had in a few years, and they are about to get pummeled with snow and ice, and you may not be going anywhere. And so I just wanted to give you guys an opportunity to get some of these patterns, have something new and easy or fun to work on while you are hunkered down in your house from the snow. I think Arizona and maybe New Mexico and part of Texas are the only parts in the country, even California is getting a ton of rain and things, where we're not really being impacted by this system of weather that's coming through. So I hope you guys all stay safe and warm, and if you would like to take advantage of that 15% off, head over to Ravelry or the website, and you should be able to do so. And if you're not working on my patterns, that's fine too. I hope you're able to relax some while you're stuck in your house with your snacks and your beverages and some good knitting. And hopefully you guys don't all get on each other's nerves if you're in a big family. So anyway, that is the current promotion. And I think that's it other than life. So if you want to stick around for life, you may. Of course, I welcome you to. If you just were here for the knitting, then that's done. Thank you for joining me. If you wouldn't mind hitting like and subscribe, it really helps the channel out. I plan on doing more tutorials, so you see when those will pop up. And then I plan on releasing this vlog every couple weeks, unless life super gets in the way, but so far so good. So I hope to see you back if you were new or if you're returning. Thank you so much. Okay, life. Life has been busy, of course, through the holidays. I'm going to try and not just talk about holiday stuff. So last weekend, my daughter got her learner's permit, which is a whole thing unto itself. She is doing this through, we're using a driving academy, and because we have the ability to do that, and I personally can't drive on the interstate, so that limits how much I can actually take her out to practice. Driving and with my husband's hours, job hours, it definitely limits how much he can take her out to practice. So we thought it would be best if we just hired someone to go do this. So help us, right? So that's basically what we've done. So she was supposed to have do this online driver's ed prep thing for 30 hours. And after she sat, and I think this is a requirement by the state of Arizona that if you're doing this part online, you have to go through 30 hours of online training. And then you can take an online test, and then you can print out your, assuming you pass it, you can print out your certificate and take it over to the DMV or whatever you call it in your state. And you can hand them like, look, I passed my certificate, here's my identification, and they'll just give you your learner's permit without having to do any testing at the actual DMV site. To qualify for that, at least in the state of Arizona, you have to be you have to be 18 or under. You can't be over 18. If you're an adult and you're going for your learner's permit, you're not allowed to do it through this system. But she's not clearly that age. She's 15 and a half. So she was supposed to have she was supposed to complete all this in 30 hours, and you have to do the whole 30 hours. So the way the program works is that it'll give you a section, and it may play a video and have some stuff for you to read, and there's a timer at the bottom, and the timer is there so that you have to spend that much time on that section. You can't move on to the next section until the timer is up. And that is so that the driving school can promise the DMV that the student did their complete 30 hours. So the situation my daughter was running into was, well, one, it was holiday season and we were very busy. Two, she's not fantastic with time management. That's just the reality of the situation. And three, I don't think she realized that once you read a section, you can't go on when you're ready. You have to wait on that timer. So she could get through a section in maybe 10 minutes, but the timer would require her to stay on that section for 22 minutes or 28 minutes or some random amount of time so that at the end you would be at 30 hours. So she had done probably 15 hours of work, and it got to be 20, maybe 15, and it got to be 24 hours before the testing. Time had gotten away from her, and she ended up having to do an all-nighter of this online program to be able to attend the class the next day for doing practice test and going to get her actual permit. So I've never seen her work that hard for that long. I think she learned a big lesson in time management. When I asked her, why did you put off doing this? You knew it was 30 hours. She said it was because she was just thinking there's 24 hours in a day and she should be able to get into that 30 hours no problem. And that was, when we signed up for the course 2 weeks before it needed to be completed. And the reality is she doesn't have any like 9 to 5 working knowledge because she's a student. And on top of that, she's a homeschool student. So while we do have a schedule, it's a lot more flexible than a public school schedule would be. So while you or I may go, okay, 40 hours in a work week, 8 hours a day, it's going to take me this long to get in 30 hours of studying, she just didn't see it that way. So while my husband and I were pretty frustrated with the situation, one, because of how the 30 hours worked, we kind of felt like, and this is a state law, we know we can't just, change it. It doesn't really have to do with the driving school. But, she really had all that information down in a shorter amount of time than 30 hours. But she had to sit there through all of it. It would actually pop up random questions every 5 minutes that she had to answer to make sure she was still sitting there the whole time. It would say, what's your favorite kind of drink, or what's your favorite fast food, or, what's your favorite color? They were just random questions. They were there only to make sure that the student was still sitting there for that entire 30-hour time period of getting those class sections in. So at any rate, she literally pulled an all-nighter. Like, I thought we were going to have to be working on this in the car on the way to the live class, because she couldn't take the live class without completing the 30 hours first. So she finished it at probably 6:15 in the morning. She was literally up all night doing these classes. She did pull it off. She does have her permit. She learned a lot, like I said, about time management. I told her, well, it's better you do it now than when you're in college. You have a better idea how this works now. So I don't think she'll do anything like that again. She's pretty good at learning lessons, but man, it was a real nail biter. I thought, oh man, she's gonna have stayed up all night and still not got it done in time, because it didn't tell you how much time you had left. That was the other thing. It would tell you which sections you had complete, but some sections took 15 minutes and some sections took 30. And so, it didn't, you had no way to know how much time you had actually completed and how much time you had left in the program to reach those 30 hours. So we were kind of working on an average of 20 minutes, and I woke up a couple times during the night and I said, okay, where are you at? And I refigured the average, and at one point she wasn't going to get it done. Thankfully, the lessons got a little bit shorter towards the end of the program. If they had stayed like they were, or they had front loaded all the shorter sections, she would not have made it, because she had basically 45 minutes to get ready before we left the house. She was up over 24 hours to get this done. So she will never forget her learner's permit experience, I'm sure. Which means now we have to go hunt down insurance and look into all this good student discounts. And I know our insurance company has a program where you can put a thing on her phone and it'll track her practicing driving, and ask her, some online questions and some videos they want her to watch. It's not a permanent tracking software. You turn it on when you get in your car to go practice driving. You turn it off when you're done. And once she's done with her permit, it goes away. It's not it stays on forever to get a lower price kind of deal. It's just to prove to the insurance company that she put forth the work to actually try to be a safe driver and put in the time with practicing. So that will help. And I think we'll get a good student discount. That will help. I don't know if it helps. It used to help that you were female, at least when I was growing up. It was less expensive to insure me than my brother, for example, even though my brother was likely the safer driver. But I don't know if that's the case anymore. But at any rate, so I've got some work ahead of me as far as that goes. And that was probably the most exciting thing that's happened in the past couple weeks, other than the holidays. Let me see what else I've got on here. That was just the thing that was at the front of my mind. Oh, robotics launch. So, as I've mentioned before in some of my other vlogs, my daughter takes part in the first robotics challenge, which is called FRC for short. And the launch for this year's project is on Saturday. So, which is today when you're watching this. So that kicks off a really busy season for us because basically all the kids who take part in FRC across the world wait for this day every year where they're given the game that their robots will participate in, the requirements for building their robots for this season, and some kit changes for the builds if they're using kits and that kind of stuff. So all the kids look very forward to this every year. It's a really big deal. And so that our whole Saturday is probably going to be that, because once they release the build for this year, you basically have 2 months or 3 months to plan your robot, decide how you're going to build your robot, and for competition to start. So they're on a pretty short timeline from being told their guidelines to when they have to have a robot put together. And these are good sized robots. I think our robot last year weighed probably 120 to 150 pounds. These aren't little bitty kit robots like Connect-A-Set, Erector Set kind of things. The ones she does are the bigger robots. So they take a lot of technical knowledge. They take a lot of acquiring, fundraising, because it's extremely expensive program. It's just thousands of dollars for these kids to be able to do this. We're really grateful. She found a school. It's a charter school here in Arizona that let her join their team as a homeschool student. So she's able to take part in this. Both of my adult sons both took part in this robotics program. One of them currently works directly with robotics every day now, and the other one is a little robotics adjacent. So this program really served them well. A lot of leadership training, a lot of working together, a lot of time management, even though I know I just said she's struggling with that. Following directions, that is team, like I said, teamwork, not just internal, but across other teams. They have to work together at these competitions. So I found to be a really worthwhile program, but it does take a lot of dedication from the families that are involved. So almost all of my free time will be sucked up with robotics for the next couple months. I hope to still squeeze in the vlog. And it does give me knitting time while I'm sitting there during their practices and their building days, but it means I'm not at the house. So at any rate, that is happening. What else? Oh, jobs. So I have been going through a job interview process. I have a 4-step interview process, which is pretty standard right now across the industry that I can tell for that I'm applying for. And I have made it to interview number 3 of this process. That'll happen later next week. So I'm very excited about that. This job would be a great job. It checks pretty much every box I have for a place I would want to work. Great people. What I'm doing are things that I feel confident in. So I'm really hoping this goes well for me and works out. It is time that I get back into the workforce with my daughter getting her driver's license and soon being able to get herself places without me having to take her there. So that's exciting news for me. Maybe on the next vlog I'll have an update on where that went. I have been playing some Oblivion over the holidays. I don't know if any of you are gamers, but Oblivion is part of the Elder Scrolls series. Sorry, the cat just left a ton of cat hair on this couch. It's part of the Elder Scrolls series of games. It is a RPG. It is not multiplayer. They do have an Elder Scrolls Online that's multiplayer, but Oblivion itself is not multiplayer. And I played it, parts of it at least, a long time ago. It's an older game. It came out in 2008, I believe. Maybe 2006. Anyway, in the early 2000s. And I'm really enjoying it. But I definitely have to weigh my playtime with other things going on. And now that the holidays are over and real life is getting back into the swing of things, and I'm doing these job interviews, my Oblivion time is probably quickly going to come to an end. But it was fun while it lasted. Do any of you guys play video games? If you do, what kind are they? Let me know. Have you played Oblivion? I have a hard time with anything that's first person, and I frankly have a hard time with anything that's a newer game because of my motion sickness. But these older games that I can put in third person, and that third person is pretty key to me being able to play it. I play them on PC so I can edit the system setup to make it less noticeable for my motion sickness, which is something you can't really do on a console as well. So at any rate, let me know if you play any of these games. Have you played Oblivion? Do you love it? It's easily a huge time sink. It's kind of a big sandbox world where you can do a lot of different things or focus on one specific thing and completely ignore all the others. It's a little quirky, which makes it entertaining. And if you've played it, you'll know what I'm talking about. And I was just really enjoying it. So I've been spending some time on that. And I think that's it, you guys. That's life and all the knitting that's been happening. I need to go off and edit this. I need to finish editing the tutorial videos so they can go up. I'm recording this on Friday. So, you know, I've given myself my daughter's timeline here to get this stuff done, talking about time management. But I have to finish the pattern that goes on my website to go with the knitting tutorials. I need to edit this vlog on top of finishing editing the tutorial vlogs, which for the most part are done. I've got to run to Walmart and do some shopping, so I should probably get off of here. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Again, I hope you guys have another great couple weeks until I see you again. Happy crafting. Bye.